A wise man once said, "Comparison is the thief of joy." This theme is so relevant in my life almost every day because I find myself comparing myself to other people. For instance, last night, my wife and I put the kids to bed at 8 p.m. We went upstairs around 11 p.m. ready to finally get some much needed rest. So as we close our eyes to go to rest, we hear our daughter start screaming because she's teething. And teething is awesome. I highly recommend it. No. But she's teething and she's crying big tears and she just wants to be held. So we grab her and we try to rock her. Maybe we can get her back in her bed. Nope. She needs to be held. So we bring her into our bed. We get settled again. It's about midnight. We close our eyes to get some rest. And all of a sudden my son, who is 3 years old, runs in the room screaming. He's had a terrible nightmare. And he's fearful and he's scared and he needs daddy. So I hold him in my arms. We're sitting on our bed. And I just think, okay, if I can just get him back to bed, then I can put him back in his own bed. Nope. Nope. So he lays down with me. And we get him to sleep. It's about 1 a.m. I remember just looking. My wife's asleep, our daughter's asleep, my son's asleep. And my daughter she has big cheeks and she's a slobbering, her mouth's open. She's adorable. My son's on my shoulder with just weightless, right? Just no fear. He's asleep, happy. And I get so thankful. I say, God, thank you so much. Because when I was single, I wanted to have a family. That was my heart. And I yearned to have that. I was often jealous of my buddies who had families, who had kids. So I go back to sleep finally. Then my daughter starts making this weird noise like, rah, 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 rah. Not even lying. She's making these noises, barking basically. I wake up about 2 a.m., get her resettled, close my eyes. Right before I go back to sleep, all of a sudden, I think my son is having a dream where he's in PJ Masks. And he's saving the day, and he's fighting crime, but he's fully asleep, like kicking and punching me. So I wake him up. I'm like, hey, stop. Put him back to sleep on me. He goes back to bed. I say, finally, I can get some rest. It's about 3:30. Close my eyes again. All of a sudden, I hear my son laughing. I jolt up. I don't know what it is. I think there's a wild hyena in our bed somewhere. This kid is fully asleep and laughing. He's having a great dream. I don't know. But I get him to stop laughing, get him down settled. It's about 4 a.m. and I think to myself, sleep's not happening now. So I pull out my phone, try to kill some time, go on social media, and I see one of my buddies who's in Cabo right now on the beach, single, living it up. And I just felt this jealousy almost. Like, wow, I wish that could be me. I wish I didn't have to share my bed, share money, share my food. I wish I could just do what I wanted to do. And then God just smacked me over the head with a 2x4 and drawed that memory back. This is what you've wanted. And I remember when I was single and I yearned so much for that family. But here I am with my family yearning to be single. See, when I was comparing myself to my buddy, I was actually stealing my joy that I have with my family. See, 1 Corinthians 7:17 says this, nevertheless, each person should live as a believer in whatever situation the Lord has assigned to them, just as God has called them. This is the rule I lay down in all the churches. So what Paul is saying here is no matter what your relationship status, married, single, divorced, widowed, remarried, whatever, God can work in your life. And instead of thinking that you can or will walk for the Lord when your situation changes, walk for the Lord in the place that you are right now. I know Paul is using relationships as a theme here, but I think it goes so much more than that. I feel like it applies to our life. See, oftentimes I find myself getting caught up thinking if I just won the lottery, then all my debt would go away. Or if I just had this, or if I just had that, then. And a good friend called me out one day. He heard me say that and he said, you have to stop living in the if and you have to live in the now. If you just live in the if, you're not going to grow. You're not going to change. You're not going to help your situation. But if you live in the now, you can start to make that better. And it hit me so hard. Yeah, it's so true. If you live in the if, you'll never overcome much. We have to live in the now with what God has given us. See, I really believe that Paul's main point here is that we can live for God where we are right now. How do we do that? Paul says to keep the commandments of God in verse 19 and to remain with God in verse 24. This is how we live for God right now. And this passage is also a warning to beware the danger of thinking that other people have it better than us because of their situation in life or their different status. It doesn't matter nearly as much whether we are married, single, rich, or whatever. What matters is our relationship with Jesus. That's the core responsibility. That's the main reason. That's the most important thing here. And when we focus on a relationship with Jesus, when we focus on keeping God's commands and remaining with Him, living in the now, our joy won't be stolen. Because we know what God's given us and we're thankful for it. And we can live for God now. We can seek God's best and be used by Him right here, where we are right now. Have a great week, guys.